Hi, everybody. Good evening. It's Tony from Big T's Adventures, and I'm back with my third video. And before I start here, I just want to say I'm so thankful for everybody who's been following me on this journey. I've been overwhelmed with support from friends and family, people who have just started watching this video. My two videos have been seen about 60 times now, and I'm just so thankful that people are following me. When I first started this journey, I honestly thought, man, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. They're not interested in hearing my story. But to see that people are interested and they're cheering me on, I just can't be more thankful of that. Especially for people like my mom who have been so supportive and so helpful since even before I even went into the hospital for surgery. She's been there helping take care of me and help shop and make sure I get all the right foods and cooking and cleaning and helping out with things that I haven't been able to do lately. So, and my sister who's helped me out quite a bit, and my best friend Steve, who I just go to anytime I need some advice, man. Steve is just there all the time for me, and I'm so thankful for him. And but today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about depression and kind of why people like me get to the size that they do in the first place. It's not random that it happens. It's not random that there's an obesity problem in the United States right now. And so, where do I start? It's been an entire lifetime thing. Like it's hard to just pinpoint where did this start. And it's just one of those things where it's just always been a part of my life. I experienced a lot of traumatic things as a child, as a teenager, even into a young adult age, where I guess I just chose from a young age that food was going to be the one thing that carried me through. Food was always there. It was always in abundance for me. Even times when I was struggling financially, like food somehow made its way there. And so even as a child, I was always bigger than all the other kids because food was the one thing that I used to sort of transport myself out of my circumstances and find comfort. And so I've sort of realized lately that, I've been like burying everything that I feel, all the negative emotions over the years, all of the pain and the agony from the trauma that I experienced, and then I covered it up with food, and food was always a comfort for me. So it was always so easy for me to, okay, I'm feeling sad, let me run to food. And they call these kinds of people emotional eaters, and I would definitely say I am an emotional eater because so many times in my life, if I wanted to celebrate, let's get some food. If I was really sad, let's get some food. If I was depressed, let's get some food. If I'm happy for you, if there's something going on good in your life, if if there's a traumatic event that I remember, let's get some food. Like that was always the solution. That was always a way of celebrating. Let's get some food. And so that's just been how I've lived my entire life. And maybe a lot of you use food for comfort. I mean, they have the term comfort food. And so it's like, okay, well you're not almost 600 pounds, so how did I get to be 600 pounds? And the answer is I honestly don't know. It's one of those things that happens without you realizing it's happening until it's too late or somebody mentions it. Like people might say, "Wow, you're getting kind of big there, Tony," or but even as a kid, I remember my grandma on my mom's side telling me, hey, why don't you get on a cabbage diet? And she wanted to feed me nothing but cabbage water, and and that was it. So that I can lose as much weight as possible. I don't know how old I was, 7 or 8 years old, and I remember that, and um, I remember being forced to get on an exercise bike and ride an exercise bike because Tony, you're gaining too much weight. And even when I was going through football, and I was always the big kid, and I couldn't fit it in my pads and my jersey, and I remember them having to sew two belts together so I can get my pants on right, and just always being the bigger kid. Like that's just something that I got used to throughout my entire life. And when my dad died, he died on Halloween 2006, and that's really when I gained the most of my weight. I was still a big guy. I've always been big, but after my dad died, that's really when I began to bury that. all that pain, all that loss, it just sort of reminded me of a lot of the other things that I went through in my life. But my dad dying in a work accident, man, that really tore me up more than anything else in my life. And so yeah, I used food and I gained a lot of weight. I'm talking about hundreds of pounds in the next 6 months to a year. I can't explain it other than I was doing good on looking better and losing weight, and I was finally kind of getting to a healthy turn. And then when he died, like it was, I just remember 6 months later, man, just I'll talk about my eating habits before on a different video, but just talking about depression and how I would handle it. Like I said, like I would bury my pain deep down inside, and then I'd cover it in food. And on the outside, I'm always like this happy-go-lucky guy. I'm always just happy and joyful. And I love living life and doing things and being active as I can. And then it just kind of gets to a point where I'm gaining so much weight because I'm really shoving down all this pain and burying it under more and more food, because I don't want to outwardly show my pain. I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be down. I want to be active. I want to be out there doing things. I want to be hanging out with friends and going to the movies and just doing stuff. That's just who I am. I love being active. I have ADHD, so my brain is always going crazy. I'm always wanting to do things and be active, but physically I just lost more and more mobility as the years went on, to the point where I was almost bedridden. And I've been here before several times. When I talk about my first video, how my journey, how I was losing weight before. Well, I've been on many diets before, and I've lost hundreds and hundreds of pounds only to gain it back, because I never really got to handle my weight and my pain the right way. Yeah, I'd lose weight for a certain amount of time, and then I'd get into a depressed state, or something would remind me of something I went through, or I'd just be really stressed out for a time, and so I'd go back to food and I'd gain that weight back, and then be like, oh wow, I'm bigger than I was before. And then I'd get on a diet and I'd do well. I'd lose 50 pounds. I'd lose 100 pounds. And it's like, oh wow, now I'm gaining that weight back, and I'd gain it all back. And so it's just, as a continual cycle. And I should have gotten weight loss surgery 10 years ago. I had an ample opportunity. I was living with my sister at the time after I left Texas and came back to Michigan. And sorry, I'm getting messages and it's coming through. But yeah, I just kept losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, and just this past year, I'm like, you know what, I gotta do this. I'm 38 years old. I'm about to be 40. Doctors told me that I would not make 40 if I kept going the way I was going. And so again, like I said in the first video, I tried by myself, had no success this time doing the things that I tried before. And I kept trying different diets, and then finally I was like, I need help with this. I really need help. But when it comes to realizing my depressive state, as we know, it's November 2nd today, and Halloween was just 2 days ago. And wow, I can't believe it's already been 2 days since Halloween. It seems like it was just yesterday. The days are flying by, I'm telling you. I don't understand how time is flying so fast right now. But yeah, 2 nights ago, I was bawling my eyes out. And I really didn't realize it, because it's been 16 years since my dad died. So, like, I can go a lot of times and just not think about it. Like, it's, something that happened a long time ago. I love my dad. I miss my dad so much. But it's like it gets to a point where time helps heal. Time helps you forget. But I was just so sad the other night. I was so depressed. I was so upset. I was crying. I was feeling hopelessness. And I don't often feel hopelessness. Like, people around me know that I'm very, like, the Lord will provide. I'm very good at just being optimistic about things and not being so caught off guard. But man, I was so off guard. And then as I was bawling, and I came to the realization, I was like, this is pain that has been pent up in me since my dad died, that I've been burying and burying and burying for the last 16 years. And what I don't have right now is food to help comfort me. So that was really an important lesson that I learned on Halloween night. I was like, I don't have food to comfort me right now. That's why I'm crying. That's why I'm getting this pain out. And guess what? It's okay to cry, even if you're a guy. I don't care what you've been brought up to believe. It's okay to cry. It's okay to let out those emotions. And so that's really what I learned. So I don't think that it's weight loss surgery that made me depressed, okay? It wasn't the surgery that did this. It was me not having that old crutch that I can run back to, food, to bury it back down again. Normally, in the old days, I would order a pizza on Halloween night. That's how I dealt with it. I was like, I need to mourn my dad somehow. I need to get some pizza. I need to watch a horror movie. And I need to just forget. That's how I've always dealt with things my whole life. And when you have something like that you always run to when you're down, when you're sad, when you're depressed, it can be anything. People can be addicted to things that they don't even realize that they're addicted to because it makes them feel good. They feel comfort out of it. But the only difference is when I eat, I get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you see the consequences of that easily on my body. Whereas you might have an addiction or something that you run to for comfort that is not easily seen, that maybe nobody even knows about. So it's not different than that. There have been all kinds of studies that show that sugar, when you take in sugar, like it reacts in the brain the same way cocaine does. And so when you get that bit of food, that whatever it is that makes you feel comfortable, that makes you feel good, that helps you relax, it's no different than having an addiction to cocaine. Okay? A lot of people turn towards sex or drugs or alcohol. Even coffee can have addictive properties. But, there's really not too many consequences for doing those things. Well, yeah, for drugs, but I'm talking about like coffee or some other minor kind of addiction thing that you might have. But, there are consequences for drugs and stuff like that. But you understand what I'm saying. That I finally got to a point in my life where food is not there. I cannot have the food. I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry at all. And so finally I had my first Halloween where I didn't find a way to mourn my dad using food because I just wasn't hungry. The surgery took that out of my arsenal. And so I had to deal with those feelings for the very first time. And so I don't know. This is sort of a very new thing for me, just figuring out how to work out my feelings and my issues. And, it's not going to change who I am. I'm still going to be the bubbly, happy person. But you know what? I might end up crying a few more times. I don't know. I might have... I get sad disorder during the winter time when it's really cloudy out and it sunsets at 5 o'clock in the afternoon here in Michigan. I hate that. So I've been really praying that we have a more sunny winter. So when it's sunny out, man, I'm just happy. I love the sun. It makes me feel good when the sky's blue and it just brings a little color in. But, I might have a rough winter. But I know when spring comes and I just turn to the Lord more often and I just got to figure out a way to work through these emotions. I have to do a better job at that because that's going to be the only way that I find success, true success in this diet, is working through those emotions. The weight loss surgery is only a tool. It'll only get you so far, and so many people regain their weight. Even after having 90% of my stomach taken out, I could still get back to a point where I turn back to food for a solution, and then I can stretch my stomach back out and begin regaining the weight, which is something that I do not want to do. So that's why I'm part of the reason why I started this channel, is so that I can stay motivated, I can look back and I can see my progress, and with so many people supporting me in this journey, it will just be such a wonderful thing to finally work out these emotions that have been building up within me, and then I can move forward in my life and just be done with food as a crutch. And I also have to be careful not to look at other crutches. Like, actually deal with my emotions, actually work out the pain and the trauma that I experienced as a kid instead of finding another crutch, because they're finding, and I was told this, that 2 years after weight loss surgery, a lot of people turn to alcohol because once you lose part of your stomach, and they tell us do not start drinking alcohol ever again. I can never have a drink for the rest of my life. I was never I wouldn't even call myself a drinker. Maybe once a month I might have a little something. I don't drink beer. I think it's nasty. So alcohol is not going to be a problem for me. I don't drink. But they're finding a lot of people after weight loss surgery, they start drinking because drinking is not a big deal for them, and just a little bit of alcohol, like a glass of wine even, is enough to put you over the limit because you've had weight loss surgery, because your body absorbs it much quicker. You have a much smaller stomach. And so, yeah, they've had patients who got pulled over and arrested for a DUI because they had a single glass of wine. So, I mean, if just a little bit of alcohol can make you that much drunker, then it's very easy to get into a pattern of drinking to comfort yourself. And they're finding that after 2 years, a lot of bariatric patients become addicted to alcohol. So, so to just conclude this video, I know it's been going on long enough. This is going to be part of the journey, overcoming my emotions, figuring out ways to mourn my dad better, to overcome the trauma that I experienced in my life. And there might be other times where I share more intimate personal things about my life on here, and maybe a lot of you have gone through a lot of that too. But yeah, as an emotional eater, I'm looking to putting that part of myself behind me and not using food as a crutch anymore. So anyways, I will let you guys go, and I thank you again for all of your support and all of your love, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. God bless you.